All right, welcome to another weekly real estate market report here with Louis Torres, where I talk about what's happening in the market. I sit alongside with you, if you can imagine, just sitting here with the computer open, reading some news articles, and trying to talk about what the real estate market is doing, not just on a national level where everybody's talking about, right? But in a more hyper local area where I serve here in the community in the Chicago area. So if you are interested in what is happening in the real estate market, if you are interested in buying or selling any property anytime soon, it makes sense for you to know exactly what is happening in the market now so that you can take the best strategic actions moving forward and get yourself the deal that you want to get. So that's what we're going to talk about here. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Maybe it's been some time since you have actually been actively considering what is going on out here with home selling and home buying. Well, here I am to give you some updates. It is the smack dab in the middle of October 15th right now, and you can see and feel the difference and feel the change in the air as temperatures start to fall here in the area, and we're starting to see some frost and whatnot. However, the market itself is still not cold. It's still not frosting over, you could say. It's still very hot, very much so because of the inventory levels as they are. So I'm going to cover that in this meeting here. Going to keep it about 10 minutes or so, but I do want to cover some things if you are considering getting into the market. So again, my name is Luis, the broker here on YouTube. I service the Chicagoland area here with eXp Realty. So if you're looking for a real estate agent to guide you along the home buying or home selling process, reach out to me and I would love to help you out. I have the contact details here in my page. Just go ahead and send me a message and I would love to get in contact with you. Okay, so with that said, what I do usually when I make these meetings, when I prepare myself every single week, I read the news articles. You want to make sure that your real estate agent is aware of what's happening in the market. I get it, we went through real estate school and we got our credentials and our licenses and everything else, right? And we've done this many, many times, these transactions. But it's another thing to be able to be aware of what's happening and be just on top of the latest news and what's driving the market and always refining and always sharpening your skills, as far as the real estate market goes, what's happening, and just different strategies. So that's what I do on a weekly basis. I dip my toe into the national news and see what's happening, yes, all over the United States market and see what numbers are going on. And I compare them with what's happening in my local market here in the Chicagoland area, specifically here in the western suburbs of Chicago. But, we still really, really are open to every area here in the area. Now, mind you, that little snub, the little tick back here that I had, it's not going to affect the quality of this video because we're going to get into the news now. Now, I like to read from Redfin Market. As we see here on my screen, I will be going through some of the things that they talk about, and at the same time, I'm going to provide some of my charts and just compare the national news with the local news with the info sparks that I'll be showing up here as well. Now, they are reporting this week here on the Redfin News that new listings have gone up. Now, that's very good news for buyers. So the question is always, and we receive these questions all the time from folks all over the place. Hey, how's the market? How's the market? Well, the market is really good if you are a seller, right? It depends on where you're coming from. Are you looking to buy or are you looking to sell? See, that's the difference. And so if you're looking to sell a home, well, the market is hot. It's really good for you. There's still a lot of demand. As a matter of fact, here, not only nationally, but let me just take you locally. See here in my screen, there is a chart. And what I'm going to pull up here is show you what, according to InfoSparks here, the demand of homes is here in Aurora and Naperville. Okay, those are the two specific ones. If you want more specific information, reach out to me and I would love to pull up your town and give you some data and statistics regarding your particular area here in the Chicagoland area. But for us here, this past month in September, we were having about 12 showings per listing and about 11 or so in Naperville. So pretty much the same around here. And so that shows you, in comparison to other months, in October of other times, it's about 8 or so showings per listing. Now it's 12, so it's a little higher, and 13% higher than last year is what Aurora is reporting, and 17% higher in Naperville when it comes to shows per listing. Now, the month supply, that's another big number that we look at, and basically 6 months supply is basically a balanced market where buyers and sellers each have equal leverage. Well, how are we now? Well, as of September of 2023, we're at 1 month's inventory as far as home supply, right? And that's basically it. So that means that if there were no more homes that entered the market, at all. It would take about a month or so to sell them. Obviously, if they're priced properly, if they're priced accordingly, etc., it would sell. But that's what we measure the amount of inventory. So it's not a new story. It's nothing new. We've known that inventory levels have been suffering as of late, which is an advantage to the home seller, because as demand rises and supply is low, you can demand higher prices, and there will be folks who are, very much so in a position, to buy this home, and they'll pay even above asking price if it makes sense to them. And you can argue all day long about, oh well, the property that sold for $350,000 it's not valued that much. I'm gonna wait for the prices to drop to 280 because that home's price is inflated. The fact of the matter is that a value is determined by what a buyer would pay for that home, right? See, we can sit here and debate till the cows come home as to how much a property is worth, and it is a broker price opinion, right? We think the value of this home is X. And we think that the value of this home is X, right? Everybody has their opinion, and we as real estate agents, we also have our price opinion. We take measures and different factors into account as far as the price of the home, and appraisers do the same thing. They meticulously look at listings and other factors to come up with their price, and banks trust their judgment. The public trusts the judgment of an experienced real estate agent when it comes to pricing the home. But at the end of the day, the home's value is determined by what a buyer, an end buyer, is willing and able to pay for the property. And once it closes, that's the true value of the home. Regardless if you think it's too high or too low, the fact of the matter is it is that price. And that's not going to change anything, because now that the price of that home sold, even if it was above elevated price, that price now is actually now a new comp. A new comp that an appraiser will use the next time another house in that neighborhood goes in the contract, and they will compare the value of that home based on that new price, right? So even if you think that the price of that property shouldn't be that high, the fact that somebody paid for that price for that home shows you that that's what the market is saying. And at the end of the day, that's what dictates the market is the market itself, what people are willing to pay for. So anyway, speaking of prices now, the area here in the western suburbs of Chicago, let's take a look at the sale price, the median sale price, not the average. The average, you take into account the very high prices and then the very low prices, and you kind of find an average there. But I like median because you're able to get more conservative numbers there. So in Aurora, the median price actually rose compared to last year by 11%. The prices of homes have increased 11% compared to last year. And in Naperville, they also rose 10% compared to last year. So if you wanted to see, a year ago in Aurora, the median price was $270,000. Now we're at $305,000. $300,000 is the median sale price. Okay. Now that's what is happening here in the market, and that's, in fact, let me tell you something else. Let me show you something else that's pretty interesting here. I'm going to pull up another Redfin map. I don't work for Redfin. I'm not an agent of Redfin, but I just like the tools they have here on the web. So right now, just think of me as someone sitting alongside with you with the computer open, and we are basically taking a look at what's happening here. Now, I did a filter of homes that sold in just the last week here, right? This is a weekly market report. Hey, let me know what sold this week. And I could have pulled up the MLS and showed you some boring lists that only us realtors find fascinating. But you say, you know what? It's YouTube, right? You want to make sure that it looks pretty entertaining. So how much more entertaining is a map, right? You can see a map here. This is public data. Anyone can access this. It's not any confidential information being exposed or nothing like that. In Aurora, though, according to this section of the map here, in Aurora area, right, we have Batavia, Mooseheart area, North Aurora, 37 homes sold in just the last week. Yes, and I will actually sort the prices from highest to lowest. If you take a look at your screen here, I'm not going to zoom in too much on this one, but this home was the one that sold the most, the highest, at $660,000 there on Maple Lane in Aurora this week. That was the highest price home. I don't have the listing here. This is not my listing, but that's public information there. So we see here that this property sold in Ginger Woods. All right, let me see if I can highlight that. All right, so there it is. If you see the map I'm trying to point at the map here. I can't point, but if you follow the mouse, it's right outside the outskirts of Aurora. If you see here where my mouse is hovering, that is Fermilab, and it's just a little to the south of Fermilab, right where Butterfield Road is. That home sold for $660,000. Congratulations to that one. And then the property that sold to the lowest price was in Eola, Illinois. I don't know if you locals around here know about Eola, Illinois. It's right here where the Eola Road is, and actually that's a little town right there too. And this one sold for a whopping $147,500. So that shows a lot of potential as far as fixing up. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And yeah, hopefully they can flip this house around and make a good profit out of it, or maybe rent it out. Who knows? Okay, so that's what sold this week as far as the highest prices in Aurora and the lowest prices. And, you know, all those that come in between are also going to be listed there. So if you want more information about what homes sold in your neck of the woods, the highest, the lowest, how much your home is worth, hey, give me a call. I got some information out here for you to consider. Because you know what? I mean, look, the market changes every single month, every single week even. You say, well, how does it change so much? Take a look at your screen. Look at all the homes that sold. These homes that sold here, every single blue dot you see here on the map are, in a sense, like hammering, you know, boom, boom. I'm changing the market every time a new property hits, boom. It's a change in the market, boom, another change in the market. Even if the prices remain the same, still the fact that something sold does affect price values. So if you want to look here in the west side of Aurora, there's homes that sold this week at 385, 220, 401, right? So if you live close to those homes, a 401 or whatever the case is, you'll see that the prices probably went up for you, okay? So keep that in mind. And yeah, if you are a seller, okay, you have yourself an opportunity to make some money. If you want to sell this home, and you know what we have seen, according to Redfin's housing market report, it says here a few more homeowners are putting their homes back in the market despite being locked into relatively low mortgage rates. So it says here, yeah, a few more homeowners are putting their house in the market all year long. All year long. We've been saying people don't want to sell their houses because they're locked into really good rates. And that's a really strong motivator. But guess what happens? What happens is life happens. And so people get divorced, people get married, people have to move out, people have to, you know, upgrade, downgrade, whatever the case is. And so they have to sell. And people are getting more and more used to rates being at 6, 7, 8%. Yes. And we're not gonna be here lamenting that they're so high anymore. It's been this way for a long time now. Months and months and months. So people are getting accustomed to the new normal. It's as high as even 20 years. In the 1980s, we've seen prices and interest rates in the 17%, right? So it's not that we can change it or it's going to go back to normal. In fact, a lot of indicators point to the fact that, you know, interest rates are going to stay where they are even for the foreseeable future. So what are home sellers doing? Redfin Home Market Report asks, hey, what they're doing at the moment is that there are more new listings coming up. Let me take it back to local area. New listings, what is it doing? This is just monthly data, right? So we're just working with September numbers. On November 1st, in 2 more weeks, I will give you the October 2023 numbers, right? I'm actually looking forward to that. But for now, as far as new listings go, Aurora and Naperville each are tied on 212 listings that hit the market. However, it's not a huge jump up or down, right? So we're staying steady with what the year ago numbers were. So if you want to compare 2022 with 2023, the same amount of listings are there. We didn't go up or down really that much. 1.4% in Naperville, but really, if you put 100 houses, it's just one more house extra. So it's not a huge number. And Aurora basically stayed the same, okay? So that's the number that we see here. And that's the reality of it. And let's see, total number of homes for sale is down 14 from a year earlier. So, and that's the new listings have ticked up 2% since the start of September. And it says here, listings haven't fallen as much from the summer to fall as they typically do. The total number of homes for sale is down 14%. So if it's down 14%, the total number of homes, well, let me see what my area is, right? Homes for sale. Let's see how many homes for sale there are. In our area here in the Aurora, Chicago, Naperville area, homes for sale have dropped 39%, almost 40%, 35% in Naperville. So our homes for sale have dropped dramatically, right? I mean, look, I'm looking at the chart. It's a 3-year chart. Look at the 5-year chart. You see how they were up here, about 500 and even 1,000 in Naperville way back in 2019, pre-pandemic. And then you've seen those numbers just fall, just free fall, way down to the low levels. again, showing you that the month supply being 1 month's supply we saw here, it just shows you the number going down, and that's why we have these prices as they are. Unless folks begin to, in droves, start listing more and more homes, we're not going to have that happen. Okay, so that's what we got going on here.
Sorry, someone on.
Very good. All right, so I had to take this call here because we are constantly fielding calls from buyers all the time, and I don't want to say no to a buyer, so I'll make sure to answer the call regardless of what I'm doing. So yeah, even in the video right now, I take calls and I will have a conversation with them. I don't care, you know, because nothing gets in the way of a buyer or a seller looking to make a transaction happen. Okay, I will answer their phones. All right, so back to this. What are buyers doing, right? Well, buyers are doing this, and I like how Redfin News has this set up. What are home buyers doing? Because it basically puts in like, what are sellers doing, and here's some advice for sellers. What are buyers doing, and what is advice that we would give to buyers right now? I like that. That's very good for you to not only read through the article, but have me even explain it to you. Because like I said, in a real estate transaction, I will be there next to you, you know, by your side, making sure that you get the transaction. But hey, just because you're not doing a transaction now doesn't mean that I cannot sit next to you right now and have this conversation with you and basically guide you about what's happening in the market. I'm not about just pushing you to the side, like, hey, you know, get out of the way. No, I'm gonna sit next to you and guide you even way before your transaction begins, because this is a relationship that you have someone now who is here to show you the ropes and to be a online digital YouTube friend, you could say. So what are home buyers doing right now? It says retreating. They're retreating as mortgage rates sit near their highest level that says here in 2 decades. The monthly mortgage payment actually is about $3,000. You know, I use Zenlist, and Zenlist is one of the apps that I use. I find it very useful to use, but you know, I am able to specifically put in some data and some numbers as I'm doing a showing, and I'm showing folks, you know, the property. I'm over here on my phone, and I'm able to kind of, you know, just show them what the monthly payment would be like, and it's $3,000 or so averaging these homes. Mortgage purchase applications inched up slightly this week, and the homebuyer index that Redfin conducts, it says it dropped to its lowest level in nearly a year. So there's low morale. You know, there's folks. Now, look, again, going back to, that's just nationally, right? The shows per listing, it shows me what the demand of the buyer is. And still, I see here that even though it's a 12 showings per listing, it's not as low as it was in the pandemic levels. April 2020, it was just 5 people seeing homes that were on the market. Now it's 12, you know, and it's seasonality, so it's supposed to go down, right? Last year it was only 10 shows per listing. Now it's 12, so it's a little higher than it was last year. All right, so that's what we got going on with the buyers. Now, really quick before I wrap up this video, what is some advice for home buyers that are dealing with, you know, not only the high rates, but I mean even the news of this week, right? It says here, who was it? Redfin economic research lead Chen Zhao. He said, despite last week's hotter than expected jobs report, rates have fallen after the Fed signaled this week that it is unlikely to hike interest rates again, and war broke out in Israel. So that's what we have here. Buyers should also remember that the average mortgage rate in the news is just that. It's just an average. Mind you, you know, your credit number is something that, you know, you should consider and obviously continue to work on improving for sure. But at the same time, your rates can differ depending on the area and depending on your particular rate and the time you're asking for this. So really quick, just because this is something that I do on a regular basis, 7.66 is the rate that I like to show. Every single video, I like to show the rate of the week. And right now we're sitting at 7.66. If you see the trend here, it has been going up as of late. And it did dip this week a little bit. Last week we were at 7.8. Now we're at 7.6, you know. So because of the news of the war in Israel, it took a dip there. And people think that it's going to remain around that, excuse me, around that level. I was trying to hold that cough in, I'm sorry. All right, I'm not editing anything here. All right, so now it introduces me to just one extra tip that you can do, right? And that is an option for you. It's a 2-1 buy down. It's nothing new, but let me just explain it to you really quick one more time before. So that way, you know, if you are interested in getting into the market, but you're kind of budget minded about it, and you want to make sure that you get the best rate going in, and you maybe this is what stopped you from, you know, looking at homes, is that, hey, I don't like the 7.8 interest rate. Why can't it be 5.8? Well, here's an opportunity for you. It's called a 2-1 rate buy down. Now, this is from Housing Wire. It's not a particular mortgage company. I'm not promoting them at all. But at the same time, I do want to just pass on information that will be beneficial to the end buyer, right? these borrowers who are looking into the 2-1 rate buy down are hoping that rates will decline enough in the next few years, that a refinance will bring their payments down permanently. Yes, just because it's 7.6 now and you just tie yourself to a property, it doesn't mean you have to, settle for that. You can get what is called a 2-1 buy down. So what is it? Generally speaking, I'm reading here in the blue highlight, a buy down is a real estate financing technique that makes it easier for a borrower to qualify for a mortgage with a lower interest rate. That lower rate can last for the duration of the mortgage for a particular period of time. Does that make sense? Okay, so basically this is how it works. It's a low interest rate for the first year of the loan. Okay, so it's about, 2%. It would be, here you can see it where my mouse is. The interest rate on a 2-1 buy down would be 2% below the note rate for the first year, and then 1% below the note rate for the second year. So in layman's terms, let's say that right now, yes, the fixed rate average, right, it could be different in your situation, but it's 7.66 in national, right? That's what the rate is. So the first year, it would be 5.66, and then the next year, exactly a year from now, the rate would then go to 6.66. And then the third year, which is 2025 in this case, would then go to 7.66. And hopefully in 2025 of October, the interest rates will be low enough for you to refinance that property and get yourself a better rate. So that's an opportunity for you. You got a good 2 years, maybe even 3 years for you to see a change, and just crossing your fingers hoping that interest rates go down. So therefore, take advantage of the fact that, hey, a lot of buyers are kind of like scrambling away from homes. Well, you can come in here with a 2-1 rate buy down and make that happen. But you say, what's the catch? How does it work? A 2-1 buy down can be paid for by the home buyer. Now, that's not really a catch. All right, what we're doing here is, it will be paid by somebody, right? Now, you can negotiate this, either, asking the seller to do the 2-1 buy down. And again, speak to me, speak to a real estate agent for your particular situation, because it might be that you might be getting good advice, but at the same time, you might not be getting great advice from the agent. Make sure that your agent is aware of what's going on here with the 2-1 buy down, and have them talk to a lender that can help you with that. But listen, a real estate agent will be able to tell you if it makes sense to put in an offer with a seller concession, right? A credit, a negotiation piece that, you're going to ask the seller for this kind of thing. Because if it's a competitive market and there's multiple offers, does it really make sense for you to ask for all these things and then, you know what I'm saying? So the point is that can happen. Just be savvy about it. Make sure that you're getting some really great advice from a real estate agent that's going to help you win in these multiple offer situations. Or, you can also pay for it by yourself, and in either, having a lump sum deposited into an escrow account in the form of mortgage points, which is typically 1% of the purchase price if you want to purchase points, and, make that interest rate adjustment in that regard. Okay, so talk to a lender about that more specific, but as a real estate agent, I'm just giving you the general idea of it, and basically putting this in your lap to see if you wanted to move forward with this or not. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to wrap up this meeting here. Like I said, the real estate market in a nutshell is good, and it's, opportunistic, I guess you could say. You could look at it in a positive way if you're a buyer. It's still hot if you're a seller. The prices are still up there. Inventory still remains at low levels. Excuse me. But if you're a buyer, you can still see this as an opportunity to move forward. So with that said, thank you so much for watching this video as I break off into a coughing fit right now. Thank you so much for watching this. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it, for sure, hit subscribe on this YouTube channel. Like this video, tell your friends, tell those who you know that are looking to make a move anytime soon. Even if it's not in Illinois, I can still connect you with a real estate agent in your area that will help you, get the best deal out there and help you to navigate this crazy market. You don't have to be alone when it comes time to doing this. I'm here for you. And even if I'm not in your state, hey, come back here, watch some more news. If you have any questions, reach out to me and I would love to answer them on air, like they say, right? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This is Luis the Broker coming at you with another weekly video. Until next time, take care of yourself and let's go.